Warzone Jones. I'm back, first video in 2010, and I just got to watch SmackDown, and in my opinion, SmackDown was pretty good tonight, in my opinion. We had some pretty good wrestling on SmackDown tonight. SmackDown was about wrestling tonight, and well, they're pretty much about wrestling every time, but what I mean is there were really no segments, no segments, no promos. I mean, you had a couple promos, but they all were short. You had two promos basically. You had two promos, CM Punk and Chris Jericho. But this match, this SmackDown, the first SmackDown 2010, in my opinion, was really good. It was really good, and I believe everybody should check this out. Don't believe me, check it out. SmackDown was good tonight, in my opinion. It was really good tonight. It's more than watchable. I enjoyed it. That's just me. I enjoyed it. You probably might have somebody who might disagree, but to me, SmackDown was really good tonight. I enjoyed it. But we're gonna start off. SmackDown has started off with CM Punk doing his random things. Insulting the fans, telling about being straight edge, how straight edge is better. Basically insulting the fans. That's how CM Punk did his random, decent promo. And after that, the match had started. The first match was CM Punk versus Matt Hardy. Now the theme was basically up through the night was everybody was having a beat the clock challenge, and whoever beats the clock was going to be the #1 contender for CM Punk. For the Undertaker's World Championship at the Royal Rumble. Whoever beats the clock, whoever beats the beat the clock challenge was going to be the #1 contender at the Royal Rumble, and they was going to face the Undertaker for the world title. But the first match, Matt Hardy versus CM Punk, and this was a pretty good match in my opinion. Pretty good match. We had some pretty good action, some pretty good transitions. Everything that this match should have been. I thought this match could have been better, but other than that, it was still good in my opinion. It's still watchable. Your winner, CM Punk. CM Punk had won. He had beat Matt Hardy in 7 minutes and 21 seconds, if I'm not mistaken. It was at least 7 minutes, and he pretty much set the theme, the whole tone through the night that everyone pretty much had to beat. The second match after that was Kane versus Dolph Ziggler. Kane versus Dolph Ziggler. This match was better than what I thought it was going to be, and this match was way better than I thought it was going to be. It was a good match. It was a real good match. It was good. Kane was doing some transition. He did a little bit of mat wrestling, and he was decent at it. And Dolph Ziggler, to my surprise, he looked strong in this match. He didn't look weak like they've been booking him lately. He didn't look weak. He looked pretty strong. This was a good match in my opinion. And the finish was nobody won. It was no contest. Nobody won. The clock had went out. Nobody had won. But after the match was over, Dolph Ziggler had came up behind Kane and he attacked him. He gave him his finisher, the zigzag, that move where he comes behind his opponent and he jumps over him and he grabs their head and slams him to the mat. He had did that on him, and that made Dolph Ziggler look pretty strong. So these two might just go into a feud together, and it's one of the books Dolph Ziggler back to looking strong. This was a good way to start to make him look strong again. And Kane is probably a good person for him to go into a program with right about now. Second match was, let me see my notes. This match was nothing. It was the Great Khali and versus some jobber. Basically, this match was nothing. Great Khali won in like 30 seconds, or maybe it was a minute. But this match isn't worth talking about. He beat some jobber. Match isn't worth talking about. Second match was John Morrison versus Drew McIntyre. Now this match, ended in a DQ basically. This match ended in DQ, but before it ended in a DQ, and it was short, but before it ended in DQ, you had some good action. You had some good fast-paced action. You had some good high-flying action from John Morrison. John Morrison here did this one move when he was outside. He had climbed up the barricade, and I'm thinking he about to do like Jeff Hardy. When Jeff Hardy climbs up the barricade, and he jumps on his opponent. But what he had did was, he did like this corkscrew move. He did like this corkscrew move. It wasn't like the whisper in the wind that Jeff Hardy does, but it's a little hard to explain. But he did something like probably something like Tony Jaa would do in Ong Bak. If you ever seen Tony Jaa, but he did this nice, cool looking move, something I ain't never seen before, off the barricade onto Drew McIntyre. But other than that, this was a good match. It ended in DQ because basically John Morrison was attacking Dolph Ziggler in the corner. And the referee was constantly telling Dolph Ziggler, stop, pay attention to me, stop, you need to stop attacking him. And he was arguing with the referee. When he was arguing with the referee said, I'm going to disqualify you to keep it up. So, what's the word I'm looking for? He goes back and brings attention to Dolph Ziggler, getting ready to attack him, but the referee had turned his back because the turnbuckle thing was pulled off. I don't know what it's called. A piece of the turnbuckle was pulled off, and the referee was about to pick it up. And then Drew McIntyre pushes Dolph Ziggler into the referee. Thus, he figures, well, he pushed me. The referee figures that John Morrison pushed him on purpose, so he disqualifies John Morrison. So you're a winner. Well, you're a winner and still Intercontinental Champion. What's his name? Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre is still your new Intercontinental Champion. But everything, even though it was a DQ, this was still decent in my opinion. See how much time I got here. Next was Beth Phoenix versus Mickie James. This was nothing too much big happened during the match. I would say after the match, the aftermath after the match, that was really where all the heat had went down, anything big that went down. Mickie James had won this match because of Michelle McCool had interfered. She meant to attack Mickie James, but she missed. She kicked Beth Phoenix upside the head. And thus, Mickie James takes advantage and she pins her. 1, 2, 3. So Mickie James is your winner. But the aftermath after the match, basically, these two have basically teamed up for a little while, and they beat up Michelle McCool and Layla. And then when they get done beating them up, you're starting to think that, okay, well, Beth Phoenix is going to be a babyface because she shakes Mickie James' hand, and then she's getting ready to leave. But that didn't happen. Well, she shook her hand, but as she was getting ready to leave, as Mickie James' back returned, she attacked her, which is why I'm glad. I thought it was actually funny. She attacked her, so she's not a babyface. She's still a heel, which is what she should be. So she attacked Mickie James, and it's clearly, whatever. The feud is gonna continue, probably between all three of these girls, or all four of these girls. So yeah, other than that, everything within the women's match was watchable, in my opinion. Next was Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho versus Rey Mysterio. This is the best match of the night, in my opinion. Chris Jericho and Rey Mysterio. These guys have been having great matches, all through 2009. These guys pretty much got great matches in their, in their whole career, whether it was WCW or the WWE. But these guys had great matches, and the finish was great. Everything was great. The high flying was great. The wrestling was great. Everything was just great about this Rey Mysterio and Chris Jericho match. And it had finished there. Rey Mysterio had beat him with a roll-up. That's how he had beat him. He had beat him with a roll-up. Chris Jericho had picked him up, and somehow Rey Mysterio had transitioned it into a roll-up. And Rey Mysterio is your winner. He beat the clock. He beat CM Punk's clock of 7 minutes and 21 seconds. So Rey Mysterio had won the Beat the Clock challenge at that time. He had beat CM Punk's time. Moving on, the next match was Batista versus R-Truth. Now this match it sort of went down a little bit. This match was a little slow. I wouldn't say it was too boring. It might have seemed boring because all the other matches compared to this matches was 10 times better than this. Even the ones that was DQ'd. It was decent. It's watchable in my opinion. Some people probably gonna say it sucked, but in my opinion, it was decent and it was watchable. And he was just beating up R-Truth. He pretty much was just dominating. R-Truth sort of got squashed tonight, but I really don't have a problem with that. But what happened was, Batista could have won the match. He was just playing with R-Truth for whatever reason. They didn't say why. He was playing with R-Truth. He could have pinned him at any time, through a certain point in the match. So he power bombs, again, the Batista bomb, when there's like 30 seconds left, or maybe it was 20 seconds left. And then, as he pinned him, the referee's counter, Rey Mysterio comes in, and he pulls the referee out of the ring. And when he pulls the referee out of the ring, time runs out. So that was it. And, you know, you're thinking that Rey Mysterio had won the clock. Well, he beat the clock. He won. He's the one that beat the clock challenge. But as he was coming up the ramp and getting ready to leave, and you think it's SmackDown going to go off, Vicky Guerrero comes out and she says, well, Rey Mysterio versus Batista next week for the #1 contendership to face The Undertaker at the Royal Rumble. So, other than that, SmackDown was pretty good tonight in my opinion. It was a real good night of wrestling. It was just good in my opinion. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed SmackDown. It was better than Raw. And it's probably this is a good way to start off the year for SmackDown in 2010. But I enjoyed SmackDown. Hope you enjoyed it. This is Warzone Jones. Please comment. Please subscribe. Share this video if you don't mind.